Welcome back, baseball family. This week we're going to talk the White Sox, more showtime and playoff updates right now. Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Welcome back, baseball family. We are super excited you're here. This is episode 274. I'm Brig. I got the Bradmaster here. And we're going to take a little bit of a different tone tonight. You know why? Because we can. Just kidding. We're actually going to do the same thing we always do because it's way more fun that way.
It's like,
baseball family, we have a lot to talk about tonight, and we're going to check in on the playoffs at the end of the episode. So if you want some deep dive analyzing, that's where you're going to get it. But before we move on, I wanted to let you know that the best way to support the show is at patreon.com. You can go to patreon.com and search Baseball Together. There are 5 tiers of support available. $1 all the way up to what Brad likes to call a comically large $500 a month. And it is comically large, but it's also incredibly hilarious. And there's some fun stuff that Brad has promised that I will do. So anyway, even if that's not your cup of tea, is $500, go ahead and you can jump in and support us for as little as $1 a month. Everybody gets a copy of the Bullpen Cut, which is an extended version of the show with behind-the-scenes stuff. Lots of jokes and extra conversation with the members of our Ball Talk family that we do interviews with, and those drop Fridays. Everybody also gets some stickers. So, again, patreon.com, search Baseball Together. All right, Mr. Brad, for real, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well, actually, Brig. Thank you. How are you?
Good.
Hanging around.
Listen, I'm under deadline, right? So I've been staring at screens for like days, for like 7 hours a day.
Yeah,
I think I think tired has begun moving down. Like it starts here and then it gets to and then it moves down. Pretty sure by tomorrow my toes will be tired.
I get that.
That's how far down it is. Yeah.
It's like on Sandlot, Dennis Leary's character, the stepdad. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I was like, I'm under the gun. Got to meet deadline. Under the gun. That's you right now, Brig. You're under the gun.
It's me. You right. Yep. My the professor said I gave him a compass check. I was like, all right, man, look, let's just make sure I'm doing it the right way because I'm putting in all this work and I'm dogging on it. And he said, that's it. Now run like hell.
Okay. At least he didn't say no, run the other direction.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty grateful, actually. All right, baseball family, we are going to talk about CJ Abrams first because if you haven't heard, it's kind of a funny story, kind of a sad story. It kind of depends on which side of the story you are looking at it from. But Saturday morning, the Nats, the Washington Nationals, they optioned all-star shortstop CJ Abrams back to AAA. This came after Abrams was out at a casino in the Chicago area until 8 a.m. That was ahead of a 1 p.m. game on Saturday. The manager, Davey Martinez, said the demotion was not performance-based, but wouldn't confirm any other details. So Abrams currently is in West Palm Beach with some other AAA guys. They're staying in shape just in case they're needed for the final week of the season. Minor league baseball is over, by the way. Brad, what is your take on this? And is it the right move?
So I think there have to be things involved with this that we don't know about. So I was listening to Baseball Today, and Trevor Plouffe talked about this. He said, CJ Abrams is not the last guy to stay out till 8 a.m. He isn't the first guy and won't be the last guy to stay out till 8 a.m. on a game day. That there had to have been something else involved that we don't know about. And that was kind of my take from the beginning, too. Is like, and the thing, too, was that, like, what if he showed up 30 minutes before anybody else got there and was just asleep on the couch, like, hey, I just wanted to come get in some early work. It's like, no, we knew you were at the casino. Like, whatever.
Right.
But he is, gosh, I just looked it up and I just forgot already. He's like 23 years old.
Yeah, he's I'm looking it up right now.
He's 23. Too. He'll be 24 in like a week.
He debuted with the Padres in 2022, and he spent the last 3 seasons with the Nationals,
Nats.
latter half of
Yeah,
2022,
he's
and
part of
then
the
23
Soto
and
trade.
24. Yeah.
So this is the thing. At 23, 24 years old, you know what I did on the regular, Brig? I stayed
Nothing.
up
Yeah,
till
whatever
like
you wanted.
5 in the morning playing video games, and then I would go to class at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, for
And then
sure.
you know what I do after class, Brig?
Take a nap.
Go to work. No, I go to
Oh,
work.
yeah, right. Probably wishing you could take a nap at that point.
Wishing I could take a nap, but I did it. I got through, and everything was
It's
fine.
true. I
Everything
did a
was
lot of
fine.
that as
And you know
well.
what? The schedule of a big leaguer, like, yeah, he gets in at 8. Game starts 5 hours later. Take a power nap. He'll be all right. Right? Game's over. You're getting on the flight. Sleep on the flight. He's fine. He's
Right.
23, 24 years old. No big
Yeah,
deal. There had to have been
probably.
something else going on here that we didn't know about. That maybe he came in, he had some drinks, maybe too many, and that was the problem, right? Showing up to work
Yeah.
drunk. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
could be.
I don't know. There had to be something else going on because I don't feel like just on the surface level, like, hey, you stayed out of casino all night, you're going down to the minors. Like, that's a heavy hand.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's the right move
That's
for
what
him?
I think. No, I don't. And I think it's sad because not that it's likely with CJ Abrams, but with a lot of other people, that would have been it. Right. He runs the risk, at least at some level, this runs the risk of him never coming back to play in Major League Baseball again because of any number of factors. He could get injured. He could get, they could decide that the evidence they had of other behavioral problems were just not worth it. Who knows? So I think that it's foolishness on his part, obviously. But I also think like you're not in a playoff run. You're at the last handful of games of the season. Boys will be boys, kids will be kids. You call it whatever you want, but for the official record, the boys will be boys argument, I actually hate. But I can see
Right.
somebody justifying it that way.
Yeah.
You could call it whatever you wanted to and just let maybe some disciplinary action take place. But this is pretty heavy.
It is. It is really heavy. And the other thing too, so you think about, and this was the other thing that I thought possibly about this is they might just be setting a precedent in that clubhouse because on the
There you go.
opposite offensive side of the ball, in the offensive lineup, as far as the hitters go, they are the second youngest team in Major League Baseball. They average 26.4
Right.
years old. Cleveland is 26.2 on that side of the ball, and they're the
Whoa.
youngest team. So
Wow.
that might be what it is saying, hey, if you guys are going to go out and be out all night long the night before a day game, we're not going to stand for it because we want to play winning baseball next season.
Right. And that is the thing. They are trying very hard to set it up for next year. And honestly, they look fully capable of doing that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe you're right. Maybe this is cultural and that's it. Maybe it has nothing to do with Abrams necessarily. Maybe there isn't extra dirt out there that they're hiding. Maybe they forced his hand or he forced their hand.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the nice thing
I
is
like
he's
that.
just working out. It's not like he's playing in minor league games and risking injury. He's not getting any service time, but he's not
Yeah.
risking getting hurt just working
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah. I
I
like
think
that
that's a
too.
nice thing for him.
Yeah. It's nice. Cool. That was a really good take, Brad. I like that it's just a precedent set. I like it. Let's move on to the White Sox, which officially it's not just the 2024 White Sox; it is the 2024 White Sox.
Yeah. It will be forever known in the annals
they
of
have
baseball.
they have earned an underlined "the" in front of their name. They officially have tied the modern era record with 120 losses in a single season. So they lost to the Padres on Sunday. That dropped them to 36 and 120 officially. Again, this is tied for the most losses in MLB history in the modern era. The Cleveland Spiders went 20 and 134, but that was 1899. Doesn't exactly count because the modern era officially began 1901. That's what the historians have made very clear that we're going to call it 1901. So from 1901 on, that's what we're talking about. 120 years of baseball, 120 losses. That's an easy way to remember it. Okay.
One for every year. Love
Yeah.
it.
for every year. Oh, that's bad. And they're going to lose more between now and the end.
They might end up having actually one for every year by the time we get done with the break, because that'd be 123
I
years.
think they will. I think they will. Because I'm looking at their schedule right now. Let's see. They're going to play. They lost to the Padres yesterday. They're going to play the Angels for 3 games, and then they're going to play the Tigers for 3 games. Brad, they're going to break this record.
They're going to break the record. Well, and the funny thing about the Angels too is they're playing not to have a franchise worst record.
Yes, they're
is what they're
fighting
trying to,
against it.
because their worst record was in 1968 and 1980 is 95 losses. They currently have 93, so they're going to get it.
They're avoiding it. At least they have something to play for.
Well, and how impressive is that they've never lost 100 games in a season?
That is impressive.
Sustained greatness, Brig.
We've lost
sustained
93.
not badness.
Sustained mediocrity.
There it is, yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. So the White Sox, they're official. It's here. It's must-see TV at this point. Just kidding.
I love it. But let's talk for just a minute, though, about the social media team. Yeah. Because they've just decided to throw it all out and go unhinged.
Yeah.
And awesome. I am absolutely here for it. Like, so yesterday they actually posted, the meme with the freeway signs and the car that's like burning rubber to go off the off ramp. So it's straight is post the final score, and then the off ramp is literally anything else, and then it has admin over the car, like literally anything else. We don't want to post final scores anymore. And they have stuff like, let's see, they have one of them is final can be found in the MLB app. Final, the number of runs we scored was not greater than the number of runs they scored. There's one more. They said, gosh, I got to find it. Final, the other team scored more runs than us.
That's how the game ended.
I'm curious how they're going to do it the last 6 days, and I love it.
I do too.
Especially if they get a win in there somewhere. What they're going to say, other than the maybe something along the lines of we scored more runs than them. Finally.
I love it.
Or instead of final, it's finally. There we go. Anyway, I love it so much.
Some of the other tweets that I've seen from them that I love are narrator, quote, the White Sox did not win 4 in a row.
That's a good one. Well, and then did you see, I sent you that TikTok where they talked about, so those of you who don't know, we actually reposted it on our TikTok where they talk about introducing Simple Plan to winning, and the mascot comes over kind of interesting, erases to winning, and then they cut to Simple Plan, and at the very end they say better luck next year, guys. They're just leaning into it. They're turning into the skid.
It's so funny.
Good stuff.
We're all here
for the White Sox social media team.
Yeah, we're all here for it. And you're right, if they do win one, it's going to be we'll let you know what they say if it's anything worth saying, I guess. I don't know. All right, let's move on. Because Max Scherzer is Scherzering. That's what we're calling it. This is a Scherzering situation from Mad Max because he is headed into free agency and he expects to pitch healthy again. Okay. So
for context, real quick, he was put on the IL just like a couple days ago, and that ended his season.
15-day IL. This is not necessarily a short stint IL trip. So his contract with the Rangers will expire at the end of this season. Max Scherzer said, I still believe I can pitch at a high level here. There's nothing stopping me from doing that except your body. Just right now, my body's not fully cooperating. It's like, well, yeah, you're 100 years old as a starter. Like, of course it's not cooperating. Clayton Kershaw's isn't cooperating. Justin Verlander's is not cooperating. Jacob deGrom's isn't cooperating. It's like your entire class is all feeling the same way, dude. You're all feeling the same way. And it's very hard. And it's hard for us to watch.
Over the course of his career, Regular season alone, almost 2,900 innings.
Yep.
It's
We talked
over
about that.
17 years, 40 years old, dude. Like it's
Yep.
it's not going to cooperate anymore. I'm sorry, it's just
Nope.
not.
And admirable to keep going. And he will be the author of his story, which I admire and love about him. I think that's fabulous. If he comes back, I will not hold it against him. If he comes back and does what Craig Kimbrell has done effectively over the last half of this season, then I will be upset for him.
Well, and the other thing I wonder who's going to call with the kind of money that he wants, because let's not forget, he is a Boris client. So they're going to be looking to
Yep.
maximize the amount of money he gets. But
Yep.
really, though, like, who's going to want to give it to him at this point? He has not been healthy this year at all. I think he's had 9 starts this year.
Yeah.
Let me double
12
check
maybe
that real
at the
quick.
most.
He has had a grand total of 9 starts this year.
Yeah. There you go.
Pitched 43 innings, 43 and a third during
Ooh.
that time. You've
Even
got to
that's
think
low
that a
for 9
team's going to
starts.
be like, yeah, no, we are not going to pay for you to come make 9 starts for us and pitch 43 innings.
No.
No way.
No way.
Especially not what you're looking for, because you're 40 years old.
Right.
It's not happening.
The
Not happening.
the only thing I can think of is if a team with a young core, like the Nationals that we've been talking about, if they pull him in and they think, or and they say to him something like, "Hey, why don't you come back on a goodwill tour, finish your career here, teach some of these young guys, and then if you want to hang it up mid-season, we will send you off. We'll support you. It'll be awesome. Whatever, right? Like no matter what happens, we're here with you. We're here for you. Please come and be a presence in the clubhouse for a little while, and let's see how long you can go."
I think that makes a lot of sense. So I think that narrows his landing spots to Detroit and Washington.
It does. It absolutely does.
I think those would be the only places that would take him at this point. And that would be why, is they're paying him to mentor their pitching staff.
Yep. And I would put I'm inclined to put Pittsburgh in that same category, but I don't think they need it like those other two clubs do.
I don't think they do either. And honestly, if Detroit makes the playoffs, I don't think they need it either.
Right.
And it feels like they're going to.
Yeah, it does. And so, yeah, I mean, I think Washington would be cool. It would be romantic. For all the reasons, it would be great. And if he can be a developmental leader, even better. So I'm with Max here. Come back. Let's see what you can do. Hopefully it's better than you did this year. Go home. That kind of thing. I think that's awesome.
Do you think
But low expectations.
so? Do you think he ends up closing out his career like Chet Steadman in that one documentary?
In the documentary, yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's
It
possible.
sure feels like it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Because that would be, wow. Talk about storybook. Especially if it goes back to Washington. Come on, man. That would be fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. I've now created the storyline I will be, praying for.
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
Send one up.
Thank you. Exactly. All right, let's move on to the Reds. The Reds have they ring up the bell. David Bell has been fired after 6 seasons with the team officially. They're not even at the end of their season, in case you didn't notice. It's not over. But the Reds have played 76 and 81 record under Bell. That's this year. He's 409 and 456 over the 6-year period. Other than this year, the Reds have only finished under 500 twice with Bell at the helm. Don't say that too fast. You'll hurt yourself. That was 2019 when they went 75 and 87. And again in 2022, they wound up 62 and 100, which is real bad. So this move needed to be made. I think this is a good time to bring in some new leadership, a new voice, a new strategy. I think you've got a young core of guys that this guy's probably getting as much out of them as he's able. His voice, his style, whatever you want to call it, might be getting a little stale. I don't think this has anything necessarily to do with David Bell being bad. I think, as
Right.
we've talked about a lot, you get hired to get fired as a manager. He's going to slide into another role somewhere. It's going to be just fine for him. but I think this is going to be awesome for the Reds, potentially. They could get the wrong guy. It could be abysmal. But if they get the right guy, this is the right time. And I think it's going to be good. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, at first I was kind of like, that seems weird. The 1 year that you have any expectation under your manager and he doesn't live up to it and you fire him
Yeah.
with
Nah.
one bad season's expectation. But I think you made a good point, though. I think that he's gotten the most out of this team that he can get out of him. I looked at it and at first I was like, man, he's only had 2 other losing seasons besides this year. That's half. That's quick
Yeah.
math. That's
Yeah.
half. It's
You add
almost
this one.
every other. Yeah, it's almost every other at
Exactly.
this point. And so it makes sense. He's going to land on his feet somewhere. Maybe he'll end up in Miami. I don't know. But he's going to
Could be.
either end up as a manager or, worst case scenario, I think a bench coach somewhere. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a bench coach in Seattle, to be honest with you, starting next year. But
Right.
a lot of rumors about Jay Buhner in that role. I don't know that that's going to happen.
Cool, actually.
But really, though, I think he'll land and he'll be just fine. The Reds are going to bring in somebody and they'll take a step forward next year because they have a ton of talent. Everybody's going to be obviously a year older, more experienced, and things. I think things will sort out in Cincinnati and they'll do really well. And sometimes, when you build up a team, you have the guy whose job is to develop the players. You fire him, then the next guy's job is to win. So maybe that's the point, is that David Bell did a great job developing this team, helping these players get right and learn how to be big leaguers. Okay, now it's time to win. He's not going to be the guy to do that.
For sure. I think that's
Right,
exactly
so.
where it's at. And if that's not accurate, then that's very likely what the front office is thinking. And so it's whether it's accurate or not doesn't matter, because I'm sure what they're thinking, and that's fine. I think it's great. And you're right, he's going to land. It's going to be just fine for David Bell. So, baseball family, what do you think? Especially if you're a Reds fan, are you happy about this or are you not? Please tell us. All right, we're going to move on and talk about the A's because their season has been over for a while, and ahead of the season finale, the owner, John Fischer, came out with a letter to the fans, and he wanted to
Real
wrap
quick,
up the final season.
their last home game in Oakland is going to be Thursday, September 26th against Texas.
So the Rangers are in town. Okay, so fans are upset. We've been talking about it all year, a little bit before the year started. John Fischer says he understands that fans are upset, and he understands why. He said, quote, "Our dream was to win world championships and build a new ballpark in Oakland. Over the next 18 years from the time that he bought the team, we did our very best to make that happen." Okay. This feels like pandering.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all see this for what it is. I think the most they've spent on a player was $66 million, and that was in or $68 million, and that was in 2006. What was that, Brad?
Right now.
Either way, that was 20 years ago, and in the last 20 years, they haven't spent more on any single player. I don't want to hear it.
So they had Jason. So as far as the payroll goes in 2006, Eric Chavez was 9.5. Jason
That was
Kendall was 11 and a half.
annual value. Yeah.
Barry Zito was almost 8.
Yeah. You see what I mean? Like, he hasn't spent the money on anybody since Eric Chavez. That's 20 years old. It's not going to, you can't sit there and say we've tried our best when all you've done is, keep
Jason
a
Kendall
possum.
is Jason Kendall the highest paid player in the John Fisher era?
I think, honestly, I thought it was
He
Eric
might.
Chavez,
No.
Chavez, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm just
Jason
saying, like,
Kendall made like a touch more.
they have spent more on attempting to renovate the Coliseum than they have on putting players on the field. And part of it is because of that stupid possum that they have to make sure is taken care of, which now I don't know what they're going to do with because they have to tear it down.
It's like the weirdest thing.
It's the weirdest thing.
You're
Baseball
right,
family, if you don't know, there's a possum living in Oakland Coliseum, and he, she, it, whatever, is often in the visiting team's press box, and they're kind of unable to do anything about it because it's protected. So, don't know what it's been that way for years. This is not a new thing. I don't know what to tell you. Super
No
strange,
idea.
but that has gotten as much attention in recent years as the
There's a
A's
lot of
on-field
concern.
performance.
A lot of concern surrounding the possum, because
true.
a lot of people are like, well, where's it going to go? What are they going to do with it?
Yeah. Well, now they have to tear down the Coliseum. So maybe this is good because maybe the possum was the bad luck charm. You know, like, have we ever looked at it from that angle? I don't think we have.
I don't think we have. Looked at it that way. Here's a fun one for you, Brig.
Okay.
In 2009, Matt Holliday, who still hasn't touched home plate, by the way,
I knew you were going to say.
He got 13-5 in 2009.
Wow. Wow. 13-5.
That's the one. And Chavez did have a big, long contract worth some money. So I think over time they ended up paying him the most. But yeah,
that's 20 years old, baseball family. Okay, here's the deal. He said the A's are part of the fabric in Oakland, the East Bay, and the entire Bay Area. Yeah, until now, because you let it dry up. You literally allowed somebody to trim the fabric, and it's your fault. He says that they did their very best since 2005 when they bought the team. It was only in 2021, after 16 years of working exclusively on developing a home in the Bay Area. Exclusively. Did you hear this? He admitted defeat. In 2021, after 16 years of working on nothing but building a new ballpark, not a team, not championships, they spent 16 years of working exclusively on developing a home in the Bay. Brad, it sounds like he was spending his time in real estate and not necessarily in baseball. Okay.
The
People
thing
are
that's funny
calling
about
for his
that,
head because they're calling the revenue sharing program his profit sharing program, and that it's undercutting his what do you call it? His he's basically profit sharecropping. That's the word. He's sharecropping.
I mean, honestly, that is what he's doing. And you're right. He's been spending his time in real estate, prioritizing the stadium. And this is the thing I've never understood with Fisher's approach. If you spend the money, you will make money. Always.
Yep.
Especially in the American League West, where a mediocre team got you to the playoffs several times.
Several times.
Where you will make even more money. And you will make more money at the gate because people will continue to show up. Oh, they're upset, but I understand why they're upset. I don't think you do, actually. I don't think you get it.
No.
I don't think you get that people are upset because you didn't put forth the effort to put together a good team. And now, this team that was beloved for years, decades before he took over, is just a shell of itself. And now he's going to take it to Sacramento and expect people to come see them play at a minor league ballpark.
No, he's going to expect them to come and watch Aaron Judge hit home runs. He's already said so.
You're right. That is
okay.
And that's
he said, blah, blah, blah. So since Oakland, this is not since John Fischer took over, since the team moved from Kansas City to Oakland, 4 World Series championships, 6 pennants, 17 division titles, 7 Hall of Famers, blah, 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 all these specific people. The 1989 earthquake in Game 3 of the Bay Area series, the 20-game win streak, the Hollywood movie Moneyball. All of that is what makes our departure so hard. Okay, but then one fan gets on the internet, on the socials, and says, I'll never understand how you can write out all that history and still say, we tried our best, which clearly sucked and failed. So it is what it is. That was that girl Myra or Mira on the Twitter X machine, in case you're wondering. But she makes a great point. It's true. Like, he's going to go ahead and parade all of this history and the lore and the wonderful opportunities that have been presented to the team and the fans and everything in Oakland, and then just be like, sorry, man, I'm sorry. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Okay, so here's this. Let me play a devil's advocate here for just a minute. So
Okay.
John Fischer took over. He bought the team in 2006, right?
5.
5. Okay. So starting in 2005, that doesn't really make much of a difference because they didn't make the playoffs in 2005. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 division titles since 2005.
Okay.
7 playoff appearances. However, with those 7 playoff appearances, they have never made it out of the division round. And I think that's because a talented team, especially if you win the division, will get you a division title, get you to the division series. But you legitimately, Brig, you have to pay to get out of the division round. To get to the league championship series, you have to pay the players who will come through big. And they lost, let's see. So last time they were in the playoffs was 2020. Shortened season only kind of counts, I guess. I don't know. You can count it. They lost to the Astros. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so much better than everybody around that time anyway. And they weren't cheating anymore. But they didn't have fans to deal with, so they didn't. I guess the humiliation was enough, right? Enough of a punishment. Then they lost to the Tigers in 2013 in the division series. A loaded Tigers team, by the way.
Yeah.
2012, they lost to, again, loaded Tigers team. They have never paid for the talent that it takes to get to the league championship series. It's been enough. It's been the Jerry Reinsdorf approach. It's enough to have a good team to draw and get to the playoffs. It costs too much to get beyond.
Yep.
I don't think that they can say
Artie Moreno, John Fischer.
Yeah, I don't think they can legitimately say that they've tried to win championships. They've tried to make money, and they've done a pretty darn good job doing it at this point. But they haven't done anything to put that money back into the team or a stadium in Oakland.
I just can't do it. I can't do it. I can't understand it. I won't try anymore to figure it out because there is no excuse. And if you're livid, you should be, says I. What do you think, Brad?
Real quick, though, Brig, I will say about Artie Moreno, he puts the money out there, but the reason he puts the money out there is because of marketing. He wants to market his players. He doesn't want to win.
That's fair.
All they cared about with Ohtani was the fact that he drew. They didn't try to win around him.
Yeah. I think that's true. That's true. But if I would counter that argument by saying if that's true, then why have they failed so just egregiously to effectively market Mike Trout?
I think honestly, Rob Manfred said it several years ago. You can't market a player if they won't let you.
Okay,
I think he did. I think this is the thing I think with Mike Trout. I think Mike Trout does want to win. He doesn't want to be your show pony. Hey, get me to the playoffs, I'll do it. But until then, and we don't know if that's the case because they haven't been to playoffs, so we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
That might be his stipulation. Is like, you can't parade me out there to sell tickets and get people to come if you're not going to put a winning team around me. That's what I would say if I was Mike Trout, because I'd be fed up at this point.
Until you get your one opportunity to play in high leverage playoff like baseball, and it doesn't go well.
Because you're facing the best player in the world.
I know. It is too bad. But I did call it, and I'll never get over it.
I know.
Okay.
Speaking of the best player in the world.
I was just going to say. Wow. We've been doing this together for too long. We don't. Okay. Speaking of the best player in baseball, Shohei Ohtani continues to be absolutely insane. We don't have very little thread of context to understand exactly how good he really is. It's only because everything else we've seen hasn't been this good. He's at the end of the line. We don't know what is next. Because Since reaching 50-50 on Thursday, he's now reached 53 homers and 55 stolen bases. It's currently Monday night.
I'm telling you,
And
man, 60-60.
I know we are right around the corner. As long as teams can continue to pitch to him, there's no reason he doesn't get it in the next 5 or 6 days. So let's revisit the significance of 66 or 50-50. I have had a number of people reach out and ask me, okay, I'm a casual baseball fan, trying to understand what exactly is going on here, what this means. So for those of you in the same boat, we're just going to lay it out there for you. We're going to make it's going to make a lot of sense after this, okay? Only one player ever has had a career, an entire career, where they've posted a single game with where they've gone 6 for 6 at the plate. That means 6 opportunities to hit the ball, and 6 of those opportunities have been successful. Okay? There's only one player ever who's done that in his career in a single game. There's only one player ever who has hit 10 or more RBIs.
Well, hold on, Brig. Guys have gone 6 for 6, but nobody's done all of these things over the course of their career.
Thank you. You're right. I was about to misspeak.
There's stipulation.
Okay. Thank you. 10 or more RBIs in a game. An RBI is a run batted in. That means their performance at the plate is responsible for the team having earned a run. Okay. 10 or more runs batted in, 3 home runs in a game, 2 stolen bases in a game, 5 extra base hits in a game, which is anything over a single. Shohei Ohtani did that all in one game, not just in scatter games throughout their career. This all happened in one day.
Yeah, there's only one person who's ever done that over the course of their career, and it's Shohei Ohtani,
right?
Who did it in one day?
Who did it in one day? Okay,
it's absolutely insane.
I love it. Let me tell you, he's so much better than everybody else that his contract is worth double the next guy nearest in terms of total value. He is being paid $700 million over a 10-year contracted period. And that's exactly the right answer. Okay. Here's a couple of other.
I will say this: Mike Trout is getting. I want to say his deal is worth like $435.
Yeah.
So
it's like half. It's just over half.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So the last year. So here, let me give you a breakdown. The third guy ever to hit 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases was Alex Rodriguez. He did it in 1998. The first guy ever to do it was Jose Canseco. He did it in the 80s. Okay. First guy ever in the history of baseball to hit 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases in a season is only as old as the 80s. Took 10 years for the third guy ever to do it. You fast forward all this time, and last year, Ronald Acuna Jr. with the Braves went 40-70, and we lost our marbles. Nobody had ever done anything like that, ever. And now, fast forward 365 days later or so, and we have a guy who's on the verge of going 60-60. So, okay, contextually, that is excellence at an accelerated pace, and we need to acknowledge that for what it is in those two categories. Okay, so he is now setting the standard of what is possible, right? He's not only setting the standard for what has ever been, he's showing us what could be in the future for new and up and coming players, because it was constantly evolving. Guys are constantly getting faster and more effective at the plate and better at everything, and this is the newest iteration.
Pitchers. That's the hard thing, is that pitchers are consistently getting better too.
They are.
Guys have talked all year long that hitting has never been as hard as it is this year, as it has been the last several years, and the batting average is down this year across the league because it's so hard to do. Shohei Ohtani's hitting like almost exactly at 300. He's a shade under 300. Yeah. Yet he's hit 50 home runs and gotten on base enough on top of that to steal 50 bases.
Yep. 55.
Like Ellie De La Cruz. So Ellie De La Cruz at one point I think was on pace this season for like 50-80. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
But he fell off. Stopped hitting home runs. He's currently has 25 home runs. and he still has 65 bags,
Yeah,
but
65 is a lot.
he's only hitting 261. So think if he hit 300, how many more times would he be on base to get more stolen bases on top of that, or how many more home runs would he hit if he was getting base hits more often? So
Yeah.
that to me is the crazy thing about the excellence of Ohtani is it's not just that he's hitting 50 home runs; it's that he's getting on base enough other times that he can still steal 50 bases. That he's
Yeah.
doing those things enough that he's still, oddly enough, there's a chance he could get 60 of both still.
There is. And I think I mean, it's not inevitable, but it ought to be, right? Okay, so here's the other thing. Not only was the other night in Miami the single greatest offensive performance any of us have ever seen, ever,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the day that he hit the 50-50 mark, which is unheard of, literally, and he pushed his team into the playoffs that day. That's the day they clinched. So how do you say that the guy didn't have the single greatest offensive day in the history of baseball let's say since 1901, since the modern era? But it's been forever. It's
Mm-hmm.
been since before that. But let's call it 1901. Now, there's a lot of discussion going around about Aaron Judge versus Shohei Ohtani, and Aaron Judge does lead Shohei Ohtani's offensive metrics in all but a few categories, and there are only a few.
Right.
Stolen bases are one of them. But what people fail to recognize is that while Aaron Judge is also hitting, I think he's at 55 home runs as of this moment, and they don't play tonight. They'll play Tuesday night. This is Monday night. He's at 55 home runs, and hopefully he reaches 60. But Shohei Ohtani is doing it at an accelerated pace. The other thing is the stolen bases. But then now we are obligated to contextualize Shohei Ohtani in terms of not just the season, but in the past 7 years of his career. This is the seventh year of his career. He's 30 years old. He's 30 years old, guys, and he's already an elite pitcher. His career ERA is 3.01. Aaron Judge does not throw the ball from the mound. He's not striking guys out. And I'm a Yankees fan, and I'm a big fan of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Sport. Let's all rise for Aaron Judge. We should. But here's the deal. Shohei Ohtani is in a league of his own. He is another class of baseball player in every single way. He just is. That's why he's getting paid $700 million.
Mm-hmm.
The only
Exactly
reason
right.
he's not pitching this year is because he's dealing with and recovering from elbow surgery. He had elbow surgery. He's recovering from elbow surgery. And then he's put together this season, and he's going to come back next year. And ostensibly, and for all intents and purposes, we're going to see another 3.0 ERA or better, very likely. And the guy will still continue to rake at the plate. This guy is better than you think he is. And if he's as good as you're seeing on paper, he's still better than you think he is.
So this is the thing that's crazy, Brig, to think about. This is my last thing on this, is that you look at Ohtani's numbers in the past. So last year he hit 44 home runs, led the American League. The year before that, 34, 46. Before that, stolen bases. Last year he had 20. The year before that he had 11. Then he had 26 in 2021. He governors himself. He paces himself because he has to pitch.
Yep.
So these numbers are going to go down next year, and he misses
Yep.
time too because the Angels didn't have, I don't think they had him in the lineup hitting the day after he pitched. So he missed a lot of times where he could have DH'd because they gave him a day off instead.
Yep.
But he's played 153 games this year, and he's putting up 53 and 55 so far. Like, as the Dodgers, are you just like, okay, do we just let him do his thing as when he's pitching, or do we continue to kind of let him govern things, let him run? Because clearly he knows what he's doing. Or do you reach a point where like, let's just round out our starting rotation and let Shohei Ohtani be the dude?
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about this, for you casual fans who are still trying to understand the significance, there's a statistic called WAR, which stands for wins above replacement. That effectively argues that a player's value is worth a certain number or percentage of runs compared to the average baseball player on the field. Okay? That's what WAR is, wins above replacement. Shohei Ohtani this year is graded as being worth 8 more wins than the average player by himself. His career WAR shows him graded as being 42 wins more effective than the average baseball player
during the time that he's been playing. So
Yeah.
for point of reference, Shohei Ohtani does not play defense. Aaron Judge's WAR this year is 10.3. His career WAR is 51.7.
Yep.
And he has played for what, a year longer than Ohtani?
Yeah, 2017 was Aaron Judge's first, 2017.
His first full season was 2017. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the situation. I hope that cleared it up for some people. Obviously, I got a little huffy. It's because I feel really strongly about it.
Why don't you do today in baseball history, and then we'll take a quick break for you, Brig.
All right, cool. Today in baseball history, September 24th, 1980, the Braves, with 24,897 people watching, they beat the Astros 4-2 at home, which was then Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. It's hard for me to say. They pushed the Braves over the 1 million attendance mark for the season. 11 other National League teams had already reached that milestone that year. That year, 1980, was the first season ever which all teams in one league had reached the 1 million attendance mark. Take a break. See you in a minute.
Welcome back, baseball family. We're going to check in on some playoff races, actually the playoff races, because as of this point, with 6 games to go, there are only a couple teams that have clinched playoff spots or their divisions even. The Yankees have clinched a playoff spot. Their magic number, I believe, is 1 at this point to clinch the division. The Cleveland's Baseball Club has clinched the division, therefore clinching a playoff spot. The Phillies have clinched a playoff spot, and if they have won, then they clinched the division. Yeah, Brig?
The Phillies?
They have not won. As of this point, they're in the bottom of the 8th, but they're up 4
Right.
against the Cubs. I would be confident if I was a Phillies fan right now.
Totally.
Going to clinch the division tonight. Okay,
Yep.
And then you've got the Brewers clinch their division, and the Dodgers have clinched a playoff spot. Oddly enough, they have not clinched their division yet.
I am shocked. That makes no sense.
They only have 3 games on the Padres. And they're playing each other.
Yeah.
This week, starting Tuesday, they're going to play. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're going to play a 3-game set.
That's the last 3 games of the season.
No. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then they've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, okay. You're right. I'm sorry. I was like, what? Okay. That's pretty awesome.
Not quite there. Because the Dodgers have to finish the season against the Rockies, which is where Ohtani's going to reach 60-60.
Yeah. That's right.
Shoot my shot there, Brig. Okay.
Yeah, you are. I love when you do that.
and then the other team in the American League, I did call the last one. So the only other team in the American League, like the division leader, I guess, across Major League Baseball, who has not clinched a playoff spot is the Houston Astros. They're playing the Mariners currently.
Yeah.
Started a 3-game set Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They are 5 games up on the Mariners. Their magic number is 2 at this point, but when it comes down to it, if the Astros win, Mariners lose, they clinch.
Yes.
So that's how that's going to happen, is that the Astros just need to win 1 game.
Might be 2.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but no, because that means a win for them, a loss for the Mariners. That's your 2 right there.
You're right. That might
because I think when it comes down to it, too, is once the Astros win, I think they're going to have the tiebreaker as well. But anyway, so
yeah, that's
they've
true.
reached a point where they just have to beat the Mariners 1 out of the 3. But the Mariners are trying to win because let's go look at the wild card race of the American League because it is bananas.
It is wild.
So your Orioles, Brig.
Hey, now, yeah, I mean, kind of Lee's Orioles.
Lee's Orioles, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, they are on top of the wild card currently. They are 4 games up over the Tigers and Royals. It's safe to say they're going. They're fine. They've been on
They're
a
going.
rough stretch here for a
Yeah,
while.
it's been real rough.
3-7 in their last 10. If you just look at that small sample size,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're going to lose enough games to get knocked out. I think they'll be just fine. The issue, I would have an issue, like I'd be really worried if I was an Orioles fan going to the playoffs, though, because there are a lot of issues that need to get sorted out in the next week, and I don't think that they will be. So all
Well, and
those
they play
people
3
who,
games against the Yankees in the Boogie Down.
yeah, I was just going to say though that all those people who thought they got pretty decent odds on the Orioles winning the World Series, kind of in trouble, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. We were pretty high on them.
We
So
were. I can't believe how hard they fell off the last month. It's been.
I don't get it.
Hardcore.
They're not going to make up 6 against the Yankees. That's never going to happen.
No.
Not a chance.
No, so
but
it's as good as the division is as good as locked up. But I don't think they're going to lose 4 games of ground to the Royals. They're certainly not going to lose, or even the Tigers. Certainly not going to lose 4 games of ground to those guys.
Now hold on.
Days.
You don't think that the Tigers can gain 4 on Baltimore, knowing that Baltimore's going to the Boogie Down for 3 games?
No.
Okay.
Because I don't think they'll get swept. They'd have to get swept.
They're not going to get swept. The Yankees aren't going to sweep the Tigers or the Birds. They're not going to do it. I'm telling you right now. I know it.
And then then they go to Minnesota, who can't get out of their own way.
They can't. But the Tigers, they lost 1 to the Orioles, and then they won 2 against the Orioles, and now they're going to they have a road trip today, and then they're going to be in Tampa Bay, home against Tampa Bay. They play all the remaining 6 games. Detroit does it at home. Tampa Bay for 3, and then the White Sox for 3. So let's say they take 2 out of 3 against Tampa, just say, and let's say they take 3 out of 3 against the White Sox. That's 5.
They most likely will.
Baltimore is going to play 3 against the Yankees starting today. If you're listening, you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
It math.
Yeah, it does math because they could lose the Orioles could lose 2 to the Yankees.
Yes,
and even if they win 2 against Minnesota, that's only 3 wins.
You see what I'm saying,
bro? Yeah, you're right,
bro. I don't. It feels unlikely, but when you figure that the playoff odds for the Tigers on August 11th were 0.2%, and as of September 23rd, which is right now today, they're at 71.1%. Just in that short amount of time, if they continue the tear they're on and the trajectory the Birds are on right now, you can see it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think you're absolutely right. It could definitely happen. So, okay, that top spot is not locked up then. Brig,
I don't think it is. Thank you.
Okay. So the Tigers sitting 4 back. And the thing that's funny is that the Royals are also 4 back, but they're headed in the opposite direction. They've had 2 7-game losing streaks, currently on 1 in the last 2 weeks. I guess 3 weeks. 2-8 in their last 10. It's bizarre.
It makes no sense.
So this is the thing, though, that's crazy, is you got the Royals hold the line. Okay, they're going to be the line at this point because as we've established, the Tigers have a favorable schedule the last 6 games. They're going to be okay.
I think so.
And then the Twins are 1 back, 3-7 in their last 10. And the Mariners are 2 back. They're just hanging around.
It's right there. It's close.
Which is so bizarre because, Brig, I might have to take 6 pies in the face, and I don't.
You might. You really might. And it's going to have to depend on how the other teams play. So
it is.
Twins,
because especially, Brig, real quick, because the Mariners do not have a tiebreaker against anybody that they're up against on this spot.
Nope, they don't. Okay, the Twins remaining as of today, they're going to play the Marlins at home 3 games. Then they're going to play the Orioles at home 3 games. Okay. Then the Seattle, right in the middle of their 3-game stretch against Houston. Unfortunately, it's at Minute Maid, so that sucks. And
they played well there this year, though. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, that's good. But then you've got 3 against Oakland at home.
Yeah.
So you and those there. I'm not going to say those are locked in, but they could be.
So here's the funny thing though, Brig, about this whole thing is that the Mariners started the year really well against the American League West.
Yeah.
They haven't played Houston in a while. The last time they played Houston was really bad. The Mariners are 6-4 against the Astros on the season.
Yeah.
6-4 against Oakland on the season as well. And Oakland has been considerably better than the Mariners since the All-Star break.
They have.
The Mariners have been better the last couple weeks since the Scott
But
Service firing. They're over 500 under Dan Wilson. But at the same time, though, it's one of those things where I saw a meme the other day. It was like the Mariners 6 days a week, and it was a little leaguer getting hit by a pitch while he's swinging. And then it says the Mariners on one random day, and it was Barry Bonds hitting a home run. That is absolutely accurate. I think these Mariners are going to go down as the Mendoza Mariners because they have the worst batting average in history.
The Mendoza Mariners. That's awesome. Well, so let's look at Kansas City's last 6 games. They've played the Nationals in Washington, in the D.C. area for 3 games, and then they go to Atlanta. The last 3 games of the season are in Atlanta.
That's tough. That's tough because Atlanta is not going to want to roll over. They're going to want to end the season on a high note. Like they're going to. I mean, we'll get there in just a minute.
Only 2
no matter
games
where they're at.
Card anyway.
Right. So real quick, Washington has not been good.
No,
at all. In their last, let's see, they were in the wild card hunt for like a long time, and then suddenly they just were not. They
have a negative 105 run differential.
All of a sudden, too.
I'm just saying. So let's say Kansas City whoops the Nationals, okay? And that becomes a turnaround. How many games can Kansas City reliably win against Atlanta? Out of 3.
With the way they've been playing, I'd say 1.
Yep. But let's say it turns things around and they kind of right the ship a little bit against Washington. Then what?
So you're saying take 2 out of 3 from Washington?
Yeah, if they take 2 out of 3 against Washington, how do they roll into Atlanta and come out on what happens?
That's tough. Because I think part of it depends on how where Atlanta is at in their race. Because if they're still in it, sitting 2 games back currently, if they're still a game or 2 back going into that series, they're not going to roll over. If they're out of it, if they are officially eliminated, I think you see some bench guys come in. Not as many as you used to. You pull all the because you had that big bench, right? Because of September call-ups, you don't have that anymore. You still have to play your starters.
Yep.
So, and I think that they would love to spoil, too, if it came down to it.
Oh, yeah.
I still think they only win 1 in Atlanta.
You still think they only end up 1-1 in Atlanta?
Kansas City, yeah.
Okay. How many are they going to take against Washington?
I'm going to say 2. I don't think they sweep.
I don't think they sweep either. And I agree with you. 2 against Washington makes a lot of sense. So let's say if they only win 2 in Washington, and let's say they win 2 in Atlanta.
Okay, so that's 4 wins.
Okay, that's 4 wins. Okay, that means that how does that match up? Seattle would need to win 6 out of 6.
Have to win out,
and that's not going to happen. Minnesota, though, would only have to win 5.
5. Yeah,
that's doable.
But they're 3-7 in the last 10. They're not playing well right now either.
I know. And then they got to face the Orioles for the last 3 of the season.
So I don't think the Twins are going to make it.
So go ahead.
I think the way we're looking at it now, the way things stand, is going to hold. When it comes down,
I think the arrangement will change, but I think it's going to hold.
Yeah,
I think the seeding will change. Okay, let's move on to the National League.
Oh, I was going to say, just to recap, for your American League playoffs, then you've got your division winners. Yankees, Guardians, Astros. Wild card teams are Orioles, Tigers, Royals.
Not necessarily in that order.
Congratulations if you had that. Rounding out your wild card teams.
No, I did not.
All right, let's move over to the National League. National League now. Okay, so
Hey,
like
can
you
I
said,
say
your
something
division
really
leaders.
quick? I gotta
Go
say,
ahead. Yeah, go
I
for it.
saw a statistic and it bridges American and National Leagues, so I'm just gonna do it. Okay. Javier Baez has had 64 strikeouts and 141 plate appearances. His last 141 plate appearances. Okay. Luis Ariz has been struck out one time in his last 141 plate appearances. Or over 141 plate appearances, I should say. Anyway, the end of Javi Baez time this season, at least. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, things immediately switched when Javi Baez was out too, which is bonkers.
Wow.
The Ewing theory, Brig. Anyway, okay.
Right.
National League. Like I said, your division leaders, you got the Dodgers, Phillies, and Brewers. The Dodgers are the only team, as of Tuesday, I believe, who will not have clinched their division. You got the Padres are on the top of the wild card, 3 games up. Then you have the Diamondbacks and the Mets holding the line at even with the Braves 2 games back. The Cubs are the next team back. They're 7, and that's too late. Sorry.
Yeah, they're not going to make it.
I mean, with only 6 games left, they're officially eliminated.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
So the Braves are the only other team in the hunt to get in.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this one's easy. I don't think they do it.
Not with the way the Mets have been playing. The Mets are 7-3 in their last 10. The D-backs are 5-5. Padres are 8-2. Even 6-4. The Braves 6-4 in their last 10. I don't think it's possible.
Not playing well enough to get there.
Now,
no.
the problem is the Braves are 10 games over 500 against teams over 500, but the Mets are at 500. They're 45-45 against teams over 500.
So this is the thing: is
crazy?
I don't feel like the Mets would be the team that would drop out. I think if the Braves are going to catch anybody, it's going to be Arizona. But this is the thing: Arizona finishes the season at home.
Mm-hmm.
Their final 6 games are at home against the Giants and the Padres.
Oh.
The Giants are not good. Eliminated for a week plus now. So
sure.
I wouldn't worry about that too much. Like probably take 2 out of 3 there.
Yeah.
If you're Arizona. But you get San Diego coming to town.
Oh. You should be afeared.
So you think about it that way, though. Even if you take 1 from San Diego, and then you've got the Braves. Okay, so we'll say 3 wins. We'll say 3 wins and their final 6 for the Diamondbacks. I'm gonna go look at the Braves real quick. You said they finish up the season against Kansas City. That's right, 3
against the Mets, and then 3 against Kansas City, and they're all 6 at home.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets swept them. They're playing so well right now.
That's what I was going to say.
They're
and
so
we already gave either only 1 or 2 games. They're going to split the series with Atlanta and Kansas City. It's going to be a split one way or the other.
Yeah.
So if the Mets sweep,
that leaves the Braves with 1 or 2 wins at the end of the season. The Diamondbacks with 3. The Braves have to make up 2 games. No way.
The Braves would have to beat the Braves would have to win the series against the Mets and the Royals this last 6 days.
They would have to sweep one of them because they need 5
the Diamondbacks
wins.
would have to lose 2 out of 3 against San Francisco.
Yeah, they would, and I don't see that happening.
I don't either.
Especially not at home.
Yeah.
They've been playing so well at home lately.
Yeah.
Been playing well at home all year. Honestly, the Diamondbacks are 42-33 at home. They're 45-36 on the road.
Right. 6 a dozen, or 6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Yeah. No, I don't think that. I just don't think that the schedule is favorable for the Braves.
Yeah.
But really, though, when it comes down to it, like this Padres-Dodgers series, I am locked in.
Yeah.
Because that could be crazy for the end of the season. Because so the Dodgers, yeah, like I said, they have the Rockies, so the Padres have to sweep to have a chance.
Yep.
Because I don't think that the Dodgers are going to lose even 2 out of 3 to the Rockies at the end of the season. Although we've talked about this, was it you and I who talked about this? That the Rockies are not reliable to lose.
Yeah, we have
when
talked
you
about
need them to lose. When you need them to lose, you cannot count on them losing because for some reason they just don't.
Yeah,
and not sure why. But when you need them to win, they're not going to.
Yeah, it's true.
So, okay, so that puts your wild card. I mean, it's the same thing. Everything sits as it stands with the Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, Padres, Diamondbacks, Mets as your 3 wild card.
Yeah. Padres,
So,
Diamondbacks, Mets.
There is potential for some movement, but there's just enough of a gap, and the scheduling is done in such a way that I don't think there will be any. Aside from, like you said, the Tigers possibly catching the Orioles. That's something to watch this last week.
Yeah, and there is an outside chance that the D-backs kind of roll over against San Francisco. I don't see it happening, but there is an outside chance. The only way Atlanta pulls it together is if they somehow stop the Mets, they do well against the Royals, and then they watch as the D-backs kind of toss a layup. If that happens, we could see a shift, but those are outside chances for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, baseball family,
exciting.
let us know what you think about. I mean, will the Tigers catch the Orioles? Is that going to happen? Will the Padres catch the Dodgers? Probably not, but it'd be fascinating. It'd be a lot of fun if they did. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. But let us know what you think down in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and wherever you can else rate and review us because that helps everything more than you know. And while we got you here, don't forget to head over SeedSack, seed-sack.com. You can use code BASEBALL, the number 2 together, to get yourself 5% off of a seed sack. That's where I like to keep my sunflower seeds. The best place because it's got the little metal clasp. It keeps them all nice and tidy so they don't fall out of your pocket. Again, that's seed-sack.com. There's a link down in the description. You can head over there to save 5% off your order and support the show while you're at it. And if you need to get some seeds, head to schnookseedery.com. Don't forget about it because we won't let you. BT Pod at checkout to save 10% off your order and support the show, support your mouth. The best seeds ever. We love it. Love it all, huh, Brig?
Oh, yeah.
And with that, baseball family, there is one heck of a week ahead of us in Major League Baseball to wrap up the season, and we will catch you next week for the Playoff Primer.